Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show here on YouTube. Today, we are taking a look at the final individually carded figure in the Strange Tales wave of Marvel Legends figures. That's right, we're taking a look at Daimon Hellstrom.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
So that's right, Hellstrom here is a member of the Strange Tales wave of Marvel Legends figures. You can see it there on the box. There's his name over there. Blackheart Build-A-Figure there. We got the art right here with the cool little pentagram on his chest being all glowy and cool looking. We have back of the box artwork, same artwork that was on the side there. All the other figures, a little bio as well, and more of that artwork right here. So I think it's time to get this figure out of the box. And here's Hellstrom outside of his packaging. I'm just going to say, I've definitely read comics where he is called Hellstorm, so if I call him Hellstorm, don't sit here and get mad. It's literally been one of his code names, but I'm going to try to say Hellstrom, but whatever. He does come with the last piece for the Build-A-Figure, Blackheart figure. It is here. It is this leg. I'm not going to put it on yet because you're going to see Blackheart all put together in the next video, but we are focusing on Hellstrom here for this review. And one of the things that I do find interesting is he was supposed to be a stretch goal for the Engine of Vengeance, which didn't fund, as was supposed to be Goblin Queen and Mephisto. And I was under the impression that if a HasLab didn't fund, those stretch goal figures would never get made. He got made, as did a version of Goblin Queen, and this is different than the one that would have been in the HasLab, so I'm assuming maybe the legalese says that not that version of the figure could be made, maybe something different. It does leave me wondering if we are ever going to get a proper Mephisto in the Marvel Legends figure, line. We'll see what happens. But anyway, let's look at Hellstrom because he is a very cool looking figure. I love the head sculpt on him, just to kind of show you that it has like the darkened kind of like magic, effects around the eyes. He does have some painted in eyes. They are a little difficult to see, but if you look real close, if I can get them to focus just right, you can see that they are painted. They look nice. I love the way his eyebrows look. Little smirk on his face, I think is cool, and I like the way his hair is done. It's a little messy, but also a little like coiffed, if you will, and looking pretty cool. He does have pointy ears because he is half demon after all. Back of the figure, not a whole lot going on. Of course, there is a hole there where you could maybe stick a cape or something, but not a whole tremendous amount of detail on the back of him. Moving around to the front, it's really just a guy without a shirt on, with a nice gold belt, pants, and bracers, but there is this pentagram symbol on him. I feel like, it's done in white. I feel like if this was done in like a reddish yellow, it may have kind of stood out a little more. Maybe they're trying to dial back on the satanic imagery on the character, so they kind of kept it to a minimum. But I feel like if you're a good customizer with a good steady hand, you might be able to paint this to make it look a little more fiery, a little more magical. But really not a whole lot of other detail going on. Like I mentioned, there is the gold belt. He does have the bracers on his arms here. As like a little bit of armor, and otherwise it's just pants down to feet. He does have the barefoot sculpt, as you can see, just barefoot there, his toes right there. Of course, this figure does clock in at your normal Marvel Legends price range of just about $25. But let's look at his accessories because first and foremost, he has two fists, a left and a right fist. He can throw down, he can punch if you want him to. He does have the open hands, which I think are more there because of this. He's got a pitchfork that he can definitely wield, and this is going to go in either hand really, so you can just swap it in to either hand if you want, and he'll hold it and look all fiendish with it. You can also stick it in the other hand. As you can see, both hands are compatible. I have seen a lot of people kind of posing him in which he is holding this with both hands, and that is definitely something you can do. You can just kind of have him holding this at the ready, if you will. You got to make sure the arms are kind of at a good spot where you're not bending the weapon itself, so that is something to remember. So we are going to take a look at this character's articulation. Of course, the head is a disc onto a ball joint, so he can look way up, he can look way down. You can of course move the head and you get a little bit of wiggle and waggle in there. Looking at the body, he has the waist joint so he can spin all around, and he's got that midsection cut as well, so he can move back and forth. Arms are on butterfly joints, so you can get them way back, and you can get them to come pretty forward, which is cool. Each arm will go out and will fully rotate all around. He does have rotation right there at the bicep, and he has double jointed pinless elbows. His hands will turn and then will also move in and out. That is the same with the fists that I showed you as well. Looking at his legs, we are going to have legs that can kick forward this far. No back movement, but he's going to do splits about this much. Rotation at the thigh. We do have double jointed pinless knees. We do have boot cut here, which is interesting because there isn't a boot. It's just where the pants stop. So if you turn it, you kind of get that on slightly like bit of flesh colored plastic there, but it's there. And you know, it's good for posability. Front facing pin there at the foot, so you are going to get feet that move up and down and will swivel left to right. You know, I've kind of complained a little bit about the plastic quality of figures on this wave, and honestly, he feels a little better. Some of his plastic feels gummy, but it does feel better than some of the other ones we have looked at. So, you know, once again, just to put him into kind of a pose with his pitchfork, I can just kind of, you know, straighten the arms out and turn the wrists, have him holding the pitchfork however you see fit. You know, this might be the pose he ends up kind of hanging out on my shelf in, but you know, your mileage is going to vary. You can kind of have him throwing his pitchfork, whatever you want to do. I do like him looking like this, and I think now might be a good time for some figure comparisons. So looking at figures from the wave, of course, we do have Bloodstorm and the Weapon of Vengeance. Here he is along with Brother Voodoo, who I think looks really good standing next to him. Here he is alongside of Lilith. Moon Knight is the guys with symbols on their chest club. And finally with Dracula, and I think Dracula and Hellstrom have the two coolest weapons out of everybody in this entire wave. So for the most part, I think this is a pretty cool figure. Some places that I think he is lacking is unfortunately in his hands. I think his grip hands, rather than having the in-out swivel, should have had the up-down swivel. I think that would have been a better feature. That way I think he can hold his pitchfork a little better. I don't mind the bare feet. The pants look a little plain. I would have rather maybe some tattered and torn kind of looking paint apps or something towards the bottom of the pants, so he looks a little more rugged. And like I said, I really would have liked it if that chest emblem was a little more fiery red than almost just white looking paint. I think that would have gone a long way. But overall, I do like this figure. I think he is pretty cool. You know, this is a figure that you could put on a lot of different shelves. You can put him with your Defenders if you have. You could put him with, you know, Cosmic guys. You could stick him with bad guys. He hasn't always been an agent of good. You know, he is half demon after all. So let me know your thoughts about this figure down in the comments below. I would love to read them. And until next time, I've been Dan. He's been Hellstrom. You've been pretty awesome. I'll see you around. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. If you want to leave a like or a comment, you know, down below underneath this video, it goes a long way to help out the channel. You know what also helps? Subscribing. That goes a long, long way. So I would really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. You can also check out the Rock Nerd Radio Show podcast on your preferred podcast platform. It is a weekly podcast hosted by myself and my good friend Vinny. Together we discuss all different types of pop culture, whether it be comics, music, TV shows, movies, or collectibles. So check that out, once again, wherever you're going to get your podcasts. And you can also follow the Rock Nerd Radio Show on Instagram. That is the best place to interact with me. I would love it if you gave it a follow. So thanks for checking out this video. Until next time, I've been Dan. You've been pretty awesome, and I'll see you around.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.